welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My topic this evening is End Hunger Connecticut and the summer meals program that's going to be offered around the Valley Shore and Shoreline area. And I actually have a panel of experts tonight. So I've got Minor, Jim, and Suzanne with me. Guys, welcome tonight. How are you?
Good to be with you, Peter.
Well, good to have everybody with me.
Thank you.
So, Minor, tell us a little bit about who is Minor Vincent and why is he involved with the summer meals program?
I'm president of Families Helping Families in
Okay.
Quinton. We have been advocating for a summer meals program for probably the last 2 years.
All right.
Problem was the right vehicle didn't present itself, or the right venue was never there. So this year, when the program came up again
Right.
for discussion, and Jim and Hunger Connecticut got behind it and were advocates for it, we were able to find a site, which is in the Annex Building, the old Quinton Police
Sure.
Department. And it is there Monday through Thursday from 12 to 1.
Okay.
And Families Helping Families involvement is on Thursday. We will give out to the kids a brown bag lunch to take home for Friday.
Okay.
So even though it's Monday through Thursday, in reality, they're getting meals for 5 days rather than 4 days.
Okay.
So that's our involvement. Cheryl Church, who's the Director of Social Services in Quinton, is the driving force behind it. We've also, my Vice President, Lynn Heideck, is there 2 days a week. She reads stories to the kids. They have some crafts. So we try and make it, a meal plus.
Okay.
It's just not, have a meal and then run.
Exactly.
So we try to make it an hour where, they have some other things to do once they're finished with their meal.
All right. And Jim, can you tell us a little bit about who is Jim Crawford, what is
Sure.
End Hunger Connecticut, and your involvement with the program?
Sure. I'm a lifelong resident of Westbrook, and I work now on a project with a group called End Hunger Connecticut, which is a statewide group that advocates for child nutrition programs. And specifically, as Minor has pointed out, one of our projects is to increase participation in summer meals throughout the state.
Sure.
So the summer meals program is essentially an extension of the National School Lunch Program, which provides nutritious meals to children during the school year. And obviously, when school's not in session, there's a problem because those families who have children will rely on meals during the school year, don't have access to that in the summer because schools are closed. So, unfortunately, 1 in 4 kids in the state of Connecticut who receive free or reduced price meals during the school year are also involved in summer meals programs.
Right.
So it's been our advocacy through the USDA to help the state of Connecticut and towns and school districts to provide summer meals programs. And fortunately, we had Cheryl, as Minor pointed out, Cheryl provided the impetus in Clinton this year and stepped right up and volunteered to put together a program that she was going to initially be making all the meals for. But then we were fortunate enough at the last minute to get the community renewal team from Middletown involved, and they told us that if we could expand the number of sites in this area, that they would provide the meals, and we would have volunteers go pick them up. So,
Really?
We have the site in Clinton. We have a site in Old Saybrook at 25 Old Boston Post Road, which is the former Christian Science building.
Sure.
People are probably familiar with it. It's right next to the corner store in Old Saybrook on the corner of Main and Old Boston Post Road across from the fire department. So Monday through Thursday from 12 to 1, they provide a program there. And we also, kind of to segue into Suzanne, we also were fortunate to get the folks from the Essex Community Fund on board to provide a site in Centerbrook. So turn it over to Suzanne.
Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Thank you. So Suzanne, who is Suzanne, and what role does she play with the Essex Community Fund?
Well, my name is Suzanne McCormick, and I'm Vice President of the Essex Community Fund.
All right.
And for folks who don't know who we are, we're
Please.
a nonprofit organization. We've been around about 66 years now, and we get involved with a lot of needs within the community and helping out. We have really strong relationships with a lot of nonprofits. And one of our initiatives this year was really to look at the children of our communities. The Essex communities is Essex, Centerbrook, and Ivoryton towns. The Region 4 district is our school district. And we know that there are successful backpack programs at the elementary school levels. And in one of our discussions, we really were thinking, well, if they have the backpack program during the school year, what happens to the children in the summertime? How do they get meals? Do they get meals? And really looking at some of the demographics in this area, we're dealing with folks that have two parents that work and kids are home alone most of the day. We're assuming that they do probably one good meal a day, and we really wanted to find where we could fill in that gap, whether it be breakfast or lunch, when Jim Crawford actually contacted us and said, we've just got this amazing opportunity that might fit what you're looking for. So I think it was 48 hours or 72 hours was the deadline that they gave us, unfortunately. But we were able to go through our network of volunteers and churches and the VA administration over on Westbrook Road in Centerbrook stepped forward to be the location site for us. Within, I think, the first hour, we sent out email blasts on this. They came forward for that. Wow. And we got a great group of volunteers that volunteered to man the station for us. And like they're doing over in Clinton and Old Saybrook, our center is Monday through Thursday. It's 11:30 to 12:30. Okay. And we do have on Thursdays, we'll provide bagged lunches for things for the kids to take home for Fridays as well. So that's who we are.
All right. Now, this is a, I'm going to open this question to everybody on the panel. As far as you walk into your meal site, what can you expect, and do you have to register for your meal site? Can you just walk in? Can you walk in, grab the lunch, and then go, or does it have to be consumed at the location?
That's the beauty of it, Pete. The program is free to everyone. There's no IDs required.
Really?
There isn't even a residency required. So if you have children in your family and some relatives come to visit from another community or even out of state, the program is federally funded and reimbursed.
Very nice.
So there's no ID required. There are no questions asked. You just show up and you get your meal. The only requirement is, well, there are two. Okay. You have to be 18 or younger, and you have to consume the meal on site. Okay. Now, as Minor and Susanna pointed out, on Thursday, they're providing additional food for kids to take home, which are not part of the reimbursable USDA program. But all of that food is provided during the week for those specific four meal times by the Community Renewal Team, and they're federally reimbursed.
Right. Now, how did this program come about? Is this a grant from the USDA or? Well,
there's a history to it.
Please.
That very briefly.
Okay.
During the Second World War, it was determined when they did a huge number of physicals on young men that there was a real serious problem in this country with malnutrition. It wasn't necessarily a huge hunger issue, it was a malnutrition issue. Right. So the National School Lunch Program began in 1947 as actually a security or defense program, because they felt that there were so few people who were qualified for military service that they needed to do something. So this and the breakfast program are an expansion. The summer meals program and the breakfast program are both an expansion of the summer meals program that grew out of the 1970s, when there was the realization that a lot of families really struggled during the summer to feed their children, and this program became available. It's only within probably the last 15 years that it's begun to take off, but it still really only addresses about 25 20 to 25% of the children nationwide who really need it.
I was going to say, as far as the statistics go for the local area, what is the local number of children who would use this program, or otherwise would, for lack of a better word, go hungry?
I could say in our tri-town area,
Yep.
I think we were averaging about 16% from Chester, Deep River, Essex, which then go on to the middle school there. So you're looking at roughly maybe 200 children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the numbers in Clinton and Old Saybrook are higher.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And if you looked at a map of Connecticut, visualized a map of Connecticut,
Yeah.
and the towns or districts that had summer meals, you would see this little dome-shaped area in the state
Okay.
where we live. And from Brantford to New London to Middletown, there were no summer meals programs. So these 3 programs are a first in our area. And there's been a crying need here for a long time. It's just, as Minor said, the opportunity never seemed to present itself in the right way, and this is an initial effort to deal with that, and hopefully the program will grow from here.
Now, go ahead, Suzanne.
Well, I was just going to say, and getting back to Minor's point, he was talking about they were doing a really great job in Clinton with getting the kids to come in.
Right.
Some of the obstacles that we're seeing is a lot of our children can't get to the center. So we have a great resource. Dave Fowler, Bikes for Kids is his program. And he actually takes old bikes, refurbishes them, and will supply them for any child that needs them.
Really?
So it's a really great resource because Clinton and Old Saybrook, they're a little bit more populated. There's a denser population there, so kids can kind of walk to the centers. We're centrally located, but there is a little bit of a gap there, so they do need some form of transportation to try to get there.
Okay.
And if the parents are working, this really is a great opportunity for them to get the food and you know, to really try to feed that need, you know, with regards to the malnutrition. It's very prevalent in all of these areas.
I think one of the important things is the atmosphere. It's a non-threatening atmosphere. So the kids can come, some of the kids are coming with their parents.
Right.
And the side benefit, which we never even really thought about, is that we're able to give both the kids and their parents information on programs that are available in the town.
Okay.
And not just necessarily social services programs, but the Clinton Library has a whole host of summer programs from kids that are 4 years old up to teenagers that they might not be aware of, and most of these programs are free.
Okay.
So that kids can have their lunch, and if they so desire, can go to the library for an afternoon program, or there are morning programs too. So the benefit of having the kids in a central location is not just the lunches, but there are side benefits too.
All right. Well, you know what? Before we're about to go into a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
It was not. It was like...
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. We're sitting here with my panel of experts talking about the Summer Meals Program and End Hunger Connecticut and all that other fine stuff. And Suzanne, we talked about it a little bit during the break, before the break. Can you tell us a little bit about the working poor,
The demographic.
the demographics and details, please?
Sure. Basically, I think in most of our communities, there is a demographic that is overlooked.
Okay.
And that is what we, I don't really like to give labels to it, but it's commonly referred to as the working poor, where you have two parents at work and the children are home alone by themselves. And in the summertime, they're home alone by themselves all day until the parents come home from work. And during that time frame, you want to try to give the children an activity or a place to go where they can see other children as well. And that's one of the other benefits of this program too, is that during that hour, they can come in, and as Minor said, we have music playing, we have games for them to play. Then not only that, but when they get the lunch itself, it is a full, well-balanced meal for them as well.
Sure.
All the food groups are represented. They get a carton of milk, there's a little fruit juice, there's a sandwich, there's fruits, vegetables, and some of our donors in the community have also volunteered various food items as well. Because the program is only open to 0 through 18, if they come in with a mom or dad or a grandmom and they're sitting there watching the child eat, we have something as well that we can offer to the grandparents out of our own pockets through our volunteers as well, to let them have something. But it's really a great opportunity to bring these kids together and to show them what a full, balanced meal would really look like if they've not had a chance to see that too much. And regarding the full explanation on demographics, you may want to talk about the Alice report.
Yeah, we had a bit of a discussion on your show
Right.
a few weeks ago about a report called the Alice Report,
That's
which
right.
is an acronym for Assets Limited, Income Constrained, Employed, which refers to those folks who are working, but their abilities to meet their basic needs, whether it's childcare, housing, transportation, healthcare, or food, are critically impacted if there's any kind of a disruption in the flow of their employment. For example, it doesn't even have to be a layoff. It could be as simple as a breakdown in the car or the furnace not working right. These are people who are living right on the edge, and this is by far the most comprehensive report that's ever been done for the state of Connecticut, and United Way funded it, and Connecticut's one of 4 states where they did that. In our particular area, Lower Middlesex County, there is a sizable percentage of folks who are above the poverty line, but in this very fragile block of vulnerability. And for example, a simple review of the statistics in Westbrook show that while there are 4% of the people who are in poverty, 31% of the population is reflected in this Alice category. And so effectively 35% of the people in Westbrook, families and children, are in a very precarious situation, and these are precisely the kind of folks who need these programs. I mean, it's not unheard of for families to incur a couple $100 extra a month during the summer for food bills because programs that kids would have normally had access to, or they may not even have had access to, free or reduced, because their families don't qualify for those programs. They make too much money. But it's a very delicate position. In this county, the line is considered to be $60,000 for a family of 4, and below that, people are in a very fragile state.
Okay. Now, as far as Minor, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I was going to say
Please.
of the 2 things. That,
Sure, go ahead.
Jim and I are part of a group called the Shoreline Basic Task Force. And we're in the process of planning a whole campaign around the Alice Report so that people are aware just exactly what it entails, what families fall into that category. And from the standpoint of Families Helping Families, we've seen the greatest need in one of our outreach programs called Families to Families. And just what Jim said is true. Car breaks down, which causes a breakdown in the whole family.
Right.
They can't afford to get it repaired. Somebody falls and breaks a leg, things like that. And so the need is continuing. And the problem is we're not sure that the entire community, the entire shoreline and valley, are just aware of how many people fall into that category. And like Jim said, it's just the simplest thing can throw everything out of whack. So we've had more and more demand to help families that are going through a difficult circumstance.
Okay. Now, as far as one thing we talked about during the first segment, and I just want to touch on it briefly, for our viewers and listeners that are just joining us. As far as the program goes, where did the idea of the program come from?
Well, the program is a federal program, and one of the problems, and it's kind of a complicated issue, but I try to do it as quickly as I can.
Okay.
The areas that are eligible to run summer meals programs are usually identified as census tracts. Now, what that means is that when the census is done every 10 years and then updated in intervals,
Okay.
they identify in communities where there is a population of children who are on free or reduced meal programs
Right.
during the school year, and if that number reaches 50%, then that particular portion of the community qualifies as an eligible area for free summer meals.
Okay.
So in some towns and cities in Connecticut, the whole town and the whole city is eligible.
Right.
But that doesn't exist in our area.
No.
So that in Clinton, as a simple example, if you go from Indian River along Route 1, south along Route 1,
Sure.
everything south of Route 1, ending at Beach Park Road, all that area is an eligible area for free summer meal sites, because children living there during the school year, more than 50% or more of them are on free or reduced. Now I say living there during the school year because very often there's academic rentals there, so the
Right.
kids are there from September through May,
Right.
and then the families have to leave because the price for
Right.
the cottages goes
Exactly,
goes
sky high.
for the summer.
Right.
So that presents a particular problem, because again, what we want to try to do is have sites where the kids are. So ideally, you can tap into school programs, you can tap into park and rec programs, and church-related programs, anything that is identifiable within that zone. The problem is created when you don't have a zone that has eligible kids in it. So then you're limited as to where your sites can be. So we have a site, obviously we have a site in Essex, Centerbrook, Iverton.
Yeah, we have a site in Clinton.
And the Veterans Memorial Hall is
Yeah.
within that site. And then in Old Saybrook, Kathy Cobb, who has done yeoman work volunteering with that program,
Okay.
identified a site basically north of Old Boston Post Road that goes up Main Street and then comes back down along Route 1. And that area is the only eligible area in Old Saybrook. So that kind of restricts us because we have to be able to put the site within the eligible zone. And that makes it tricky.
You know what, the one thing we didn't talk about during the first segment, which I sort of want to mention now as far as information about the program, let's talk about the website. What kind of information's on the website, and what is the website that people can go to for more information?
Okay, you can identify websites, or you can identify locations, site locations within your area by going to 211.
Okay.
Or you can go to ConnecticutSummerFood.org.
Okay.
And there's also a web button for free summer meals that you'll find on websites. Now, we're in the process of trying to upgrade that, and Old End Hunger is.
All right.
We've got it on town websites. The Essex Community Fund has it.
Yeah.
Families Helping Families. But what it doesn't do is sometimes it doesn't accurately reflect programs within a radius, and it needs to be upgraded. We're aware of that,
Right.
and they're working very hard to try to make that happen. But for most folks, they just need to go to that site or dial 211,
Okay.
and you'll get the nearest site to you.
All right. Now, Suzanne, as far as Essex Community Fund goes, I understand you're new vice president of Essex Community.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And actually, tonight we have someone behind the scenes who we haven't mentioned yet, but we're We're gonna mention her right now. I guess that's the president of.
Yes.
And who is she?
Jackie Doan is our president.
Okay.
She's done a marvelous job being president, and through her wonderful relationships with a lot of folks in the community, Tri-Town Youth Services, Social Services, Gym, the food banks, Fish, any organization that's out there, she really has been an integral part of getting the Essex Community Fund involved. So we're very fortunate to have her.
Now, going down the road, do we see the program growing over the years?
Obviously, we'd like to see it grow. We would love to see
Okay.
the need for, programs like this, succeed to help feed that need. But we're hoping to eventually get the school systems involved at a later time as we
Okay.
continue to grow.
Sure.
But we're taking little baby steps at a time to see how it goes.
Yeah.
This was really a wonderful opportunity that Jim has given to all of us to be able to do this, and the timing was just perfect.
I think the
So-
fact that we got 3 sites off the ground.
Yeah.
Without a lot of time.
Right.
Lead
Right.
time is a testimony to Jim and all the other people that advocated for this kind of program.
Sure.
And as we go through the summer and what we've learned, we can build on that for next year.
It's really, from my perspective, it's
Sure.
really incredible when you recognize all of the people who have volunteered to do this.
Yeah.
So I think the audience needs to know that there are people in all 3 communities that are volunteering to drive to Middletown
Yeah.
Yep.
every day.
Every day.
Pick up those meals and come back down. And they volunteered, as Suzanne said, they volunteered within a 48-hour period.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just an
It's
enormous
amazing.
outpouring of
It's amazing.
support for kids and families in our communities. And it's a wonderful testimony to the folks who live in this area.
Yeah, it was really great to see it all come together. I have to agree. I mean, just the volunteers were just right there.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
I was going to say, we've got about 30 seconds left, so we're about to wrap it up. Is there anything anybody else would like to say before I thank everybody for joining me tonight?
Tell any folks that you know out there that maybe have young kids that are home all day to come to any of the centers
Okay.
and bring their friends. If they're in need of a bike to get there, we will provide that for them. So certainly contact the website, call the telephone number, and come on down and visit us. We're there until the 21st of August, Monday through Thursday. So
Yeah, great.
If there's any questions, you can contact your in Clinton, Cheryl Church,
Yep.
Social Services, or Social Services in any of the other towns.
correct. Yep.
All right.
We
Well,
just got word real quick
What?
that Ninetown Transit is going to post the flyer for all 3 sites in their buses, and hopefully that'll help get the word out
very
even more.
nice. Very nice. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming down tonight.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thank you
we'll
for
have you
having
on
us,
again
Pete.
soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
On behalf of the panel of experts, I'm Pete. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.